Are we filming? Yes, we are. So, I'd like to share with you the day I saw the Queen. Now, when I saw the Queen, and she saw me, she actually saw me. There was, I'm talking about eye-to-eye contact, and not just the Queen, but her mother too. She looked at me, and my mate. We were sitting in the car. But let me start from the beginning, because it was a surreal moment, and I hope that in the same way that I am sharing this with you now, she might have been back in the day, nearly 40 years ago, she might be sharing it with the royal family, such as it is. But anyway, let's go back to Scotland. In fact, the far north of Scotland, a place called Thurso, which is near the what was, or still is, the family home of the Queen Mother, Glamis Castle, right up in the far northeast of Scotland. Anyway, I don't know whether she was on a shopping trip, or she might have been on her way to possibly the royal yacht, which has now been I don't know what the technical term is, but they no longer use it. It's now a floating museum. But back in the day, 40 years ago, the royal yacht, I think it was Scrabster Bay, I don't know, but anyway, it was offshore, so they might have been on their way to the royal yacht. But anyway, I was in the car with my mate, and we were driving through Thurso, and we were coming up to these lights, and suddenly there's a police motorcycle outrider standing in the road, putting his hand up, and I thought I'd done something wrong. I thought he's going to check my tyres or my MOT or have a look at my tax disc. And back in the day, we don't have them now, but we do have tax. We did have tax discs that you stuck in the window to show that you'd paid your tax for the year on your car. But anyway, it turned out he wasn't stopping me, he was stopping everybody. We just happened to be right at the front of the queue on this crossroads, this traffic light controlled crossroads in Thurso, this town in the north of Scotland. Much further than that, and you get to John O'Groat, so right in the far reaches of Scotland. Anyway, there was another police motorcycle outrider who came round the corner, and he was stopping the traffic coming the other way, so there was gridlock. Everybody was stopped. The lights changed from red to green to red to, well, there was a bit of amber going on as well, but several light changes, nothing happened. I wound the window down, and I was going to ask the guy, but he had his helmet on, and so he probably couldn't have heard me, so we were just sitting there, and suddenly this small entourage of black cars, I think there was a Range Rover, and there were a couple of police cars, and then there was, I'm not into cars, but there is a certain car, and I'll put it into the description, but there's a certain car that's like a Rolls Royce, and it's probably a body built by some old established firm like Mullin of Hart Ward, who built bodies on chassis, and basically it had, as it came past, it very, very clearly had a badge on the bonnet, a bit like my tax disc, but more prominent, right at the front. And it was like, there was a thing on the roof as well. I wish I'd taken a photograph of it, but I've probably been arrested. But in the car, as it swept majestically past us, was not only the Queen, but her mum. And this is the reason why they looked at us, because we were sitting in the car, but our bicycles were on the roof of the car, and as it came round, both her and her mum instinctively looked at as they swept round. They looked at the bikes, and then they looked at us, and then they swept past effortlessly. Couldn't even hear the engine. And I wonder, in that moment, just after they'd swept past on their way to the Royal Lot, what they would have said to each other. I can't do the Queen's accent, and I certainly can't do the mother-in-law's. Sorry, the mother-in-law, the mother of the Queen. I can't do her accent, but I can imagine their chat. I hope they did say something like, God, look at that. You know, here we are, stuck in this limo, and wouldn't it be nice to just be able to get out and be incognito and go on a bike ride like those two young chaps there, you know, or something similar. And I always remember that. It was about 40 years ago, but I remember the look on their faces, and that's not a look you get on the Queen's face when she's at an investiture, or whether she's opening Chelsea Flower Show, or whether she's knighting someone. That was not the look that she would normally use. It was a look of surprise mixed with a little bit of amusement and a tinge, maybe, just maybe, of envy, envy for the freedom to do what you want without people and without security around you, or without the fear of being accosted, or the having to do the meeting and greeting, or what I refer to as the gripping and grinning that she has to do as she goes through her life. And I just think that it was just a one moment in time that perhaps she might remember now. Right now she might be talking to some of her grandchildren, said, do you know, I remember way back 40 years ago when I saw these chaps and they had their bike on the roof, and I just wish that I could do that. I wish I could do that. Anyway, who knows? Probably not, but it's a thought. It's a thought anyway. Thank you for sharing what is about 8 minutes of your time with me. I really appreciate that. I'll have another thought very, very soon, but until then, goodbye.